Greetings, ladies and gentlemen. This is your guy J Red. Look what this is, huh? This is my official show, and guess what? You get to witness it first. This is for all the hip hop lovers, all the hardcore hip hop people in the community, even the newcomers, you know what I'm saying? The new hip hop heads of the new generation. This is officially Red's View. So glad that y'all could join me today. Today, this is what we're gonna talk about. We're gonna get straight to it, all right? These are some of the top MCs that have the longest lasting careers in hip hop, all right? The first person I have on my list is none other than Snoop Dogg. Originally Snoop Doggy Dogg back in the day. He was founded by Dr. Dre. He signed to Death Row Records. He officially debuted his album, and it was called Doggy Style. Now, since then, Snoop had went and joined Master P's No Limit label in the mid-90s after the whole Death Row split up and everything like that. And then, later on after that, he found mild success. But it was when he got with Pharrell later on that you heard songs like Beautiful and heard songs like Drop It Like It's Hot. Then on out, he's still relevant today. This man has just been inducted to the WWE Hall of Fame 2016 class. That is amazing for hip hop. You see Snoop everywhere in commercials. You see him in so many different things and different aspects of what he's done for the hip hop community. He has done a whole bunch for hip hop, not only as a artist, but as a brand. Think about it. Snoop Dogg was standing next to Martha Stewart on her cooking show. How many rappers can do that? Snoop Dogg could come into your grandma's house right now, sit down and smoke a blunt with her. Like, Snoop is a household name. I think he was one of the first rappers who came out to be a household name. You know, even though he has an affiliation with the Crips and everything like that, Snoop has done a whole bunch for hip hop. Not only just hip hop, but the gangster rap music. He recently had an album called Bush that I really like, had a 70s feel for it. When you get a chance, go check it out. Real good music. The next person on my list is none other. That's right, Jigga Man, Jay-Z. Jay-Z. Now, Jay-Z started rapping early. I think he was rapping in the 80s. I know he used to tour with Big Daddy Kane and open up for him. He was also part of the original Flavor. That crew was dope. That's back when he was spitting real fast lyrics with Jazz O. And on out there, he met up with Dame Dash. In 1996, he dropped his classic. Now, at the time, it wasn't classic. Didn't perform well. But years later, it was certified classic. It was Reasonable Doubt. He dropped that in 1996 when he started Rockefeller Records with Dame Dash. He had a distribution deal with Priority Records. He had one of those deals with them after shopping his demo to a whole bunch of different labels, but nobody really gave him a chance. He made his own way. Rockefeller Records. Once he did that, he took off from there. He had different albums that came out. Fast forward to The Blueprint, which is a monumental classic hip-hop album. He had Renegade on there. He had a whole bunch of different songs on there that just was really good. Then next, he goes to the Black Album, just all the way throughout. But Jay-Z is one of the most known rappers. You can contribute that to his affiliation with Beyonce, which is his wife. But that only just not made him who he is. That enhanced him. So now Jay-Z is a mega millionaire. He's everywhere. He's put on different artists. As far as Rockefeller Records, if you remember back in the day, he put on Freeway, Beanie Siegel, the Young Guns, everybody. One unique thing about Jay-Z is I think he's one of the first MCs that can really work with any type of producer. He's worked with Swiss Beats, Timberland, the Neptunes. He gives you a different variety. He's the most well-known MC, in my opinion, that could just work with anybody. Most recently, he dropped Magna Carta, Holy Grail. Shout out to Jay-Z. All right, next on our list, we have one of my favorite MCs, personally, of all time, Nas. Nas came out with Illmatic in 1994. He dropped a dope verse before that with Live from the Barbecue that just sent the hip-hop world in just a frenzy. Illmatic was one of the dopest hip-hop albums ever. It had 5 mics from the source. That's something that was pretty much unheard of back then. So he really set the trend and the standards for not only having a remarkable album, being able to work with different producers. He was one of the first ones to put together a great body of work. Back then, you always had one producer who would pretty much do all of your album. And he was the first one to kind of switch it up. One of my favorite all-time diss records was Ether. When he dropped that, he murked Jay-Z. Jay-Z slipped through the cracks and had a successful career after that, but I think that the Jay-Z beef really did enhance Nas. He had hits before that, but this, I think that kind of rattled his cage a little bit and got him thinking back. And I think his mom had passed around that time. So, you know, when you go through things like that, you put together dope albums. Stillmatic, to me, is one of my favorite hip hop albums of all time. Later on, he put out different albums after that. God's Son. Eventually, Life is Good came out. That's his most recent album. I actually ran into Nas not too long ago here in the great city of Atlanta. It was a great experience just seeing him, man, and I hope that he really does get to put out a new body of work. We're waiting for you, Nas. Let us know. Next person that I have on my list, some people may not expect this. Fat Joe. That's right, Fat Joe. Fat Joe came out in the 90s, in the early 90s. He had Flow Joe, was a popular single. He put out different albums after that. Not until 2001 when I feel like he reached his peak, and that's when he dropped Jose. Jealous One, Still Envy. Fat Joe has been able to keep relevancy throughout his career and his tenure in hip hop. He had the 2004 single Lean Back that was a certified hit. It launched the career of Remy Ma. She had Annie Up back then. She had a dope verse on that, but I really feel like when she got on Lean Back, she had one of the dopest verses from a female MC of all time. And after that, her career jump-shotted, and it marked a new era for Fat Joe. You gotta think Fat Joe for a lot of music that we have right now. He's put on DJ Khaled, Cool and Dre, who are real dope producers. And he had a hand in putting a lot of people on, especially the Miami area in the South. Shout out to Fat Joe. Recently, he has a song that I really turn up to right now, and it's called All the Way Up, featuring French Montana. And it's with him and Remy Ma. Him and Remy Ma have worked out their differences, and right now they got a new album coming out, but All the Way Up features French Montana. Real dope song. That's what I'm feeling right now. And to be coming out from the early 90s and still relevant today in 2016, like that's 20 plus years. Fat Joe is definitely one of my MCs that's gonna be on this list I'm giving to you today. Next, we have Lil Wayne. That's right, Lil Weezy. The main reason I feel like he's on this list is because his come up. He's been doing this since the 90s as well. He was like 12 years old when he was spitting with BG, and they were called the Baby Gangsters and stuff like that. That's before Cash Money really took off. But when Cash Money did take off, before the Nicki Minaj's, before the Drakes, before all that, this was the late 90s when the Hot Boys were together. And him, BG, Turk, all of them was putting out some dope albums with big timers and things like that. And Lil Wayne was always my favorite. When his verses used to come on, man, I used to know all that stuff. From Project Bitch to all kind of stuff. He had some dope stuff. He came out with his first album, The Block Is Hot. Another certified banger, I feel like. And then after that, he put out Lights Out, 500 Degrees. And it wasn't until the mid-2000s when a lot of rappers kind of fell off from the lyrical side. A little punchlines kind of went to the left. Like, people weren't really embracing the lyrical ability that they once had. Like, it was just mixtape rappers from New York. But Lil Wayne had came with the phenomenal mixtapes from Dedication. Before that, the Carter was really the one that did it for me. I heard different lyrical abilities that I didn't hear from him. Then he gave us Carter 2. Carter 3 took off, and then by that time, Lil Wayne became a megastar. He launched the career of Drizzy, Drake, and he's launched the career of Nicki Minaj. Okay, now we have Eminem. That's right, Marshall Mathers. Eminem came out in the late 90s and is one of the best-selling MCs of all time. Like, this dude has sold millions of records. He's been named #1 on one of the BET hip-hop top MCs ever. He's won numerous awards, Grammys, produced great films such as 8 Mile. But Eminem has always had a solid fan base. What rapper can put out a whack album that he considered whack, which was Relapse, and still sell 3 million records? Like, Eminem was gone for a certain amount of time in between Encore and Relapse, but I heard that and read that he was on drugs and different stuff like that. I remember hearing Relapse, and I was just like, this isn't the same Eminem that I was hearing from the Marshall Mathers LP, Slim Shady LP. But he bounced back with Recovery, what I consider one of my favorite hip-hop albums of all time. I love Recovery. Like, if you haven't checked that out, you need to go ahead and check that out. All right, last but not least, this is the GOAT. This is the GOAT right here. We have LL Cool J. That's right, LL Cool J. LL Cool J came out in the 80s, man. He came out in the 80s. And throughout the change of the climate in hip-hop, back when you had the B-boys to the positive messages to the gangster rap to the trap music, it's like LL Cool J has always been able to sustain his relevancy. From coming out from the 80s when Run DMC and everybody else was out, to being able to just come in the 90s and do songs with Boys to Men and just staying relevant. I remember when I was in 7th grade, I believe, he had Love You Better and that 10 album. And he had the song Paradise with Gabrielle Union's fine self in the video and everything like that. Like, he's always been that rapper to stay relevant. He always comes in and makes hip hop what he loves to do. You know what I'm saying? He ended his tenure with Def Jam. He was on there for many years. He's recently been in a commercial where he was recording with Dr. Dre, so I'm very amped. I'm very excited to see what they produce. LL Cool J has been one of the greatest MCs of all time, in my opinion. I look up to him as a legend, because anybody that could come out with 80s when hip hop was really getting popular, going through the 90s and the mid 2000s, and still relevant today and hasn't lost it. LL Cool J is still relevant today, and I'm definitely looking forward to him and Dr. Dre's collaborations that are coming out, and his new album that's coming out. In closing, thank you for joining me today on Red's View. In the comment section, if you have any suggestions or anything, any topics you want me to talk about, anything like that, just hit it in the comment section. Subscribe to the YouTube channel, which is We Authentic Music. I have a brand new project coming out, Highlight Reel the sequel. Check it out. Until then, see you later on the next episode. Red's View.
Nothing from the bottom, like I ain't even know what the top was. That's when I had to find me a blessing plug. That's back when every day I had a mean mug. Couldn't stand life, but remember what the dream was. No love was given, so what fuck I give none of. Rise above it all, in the end I be all good. And on God I create new beginnings. In control of my destiny, you know it's not for me. It's great for me, so if you ain't contributing,